who's Brenna. I use she, her pronouns, and I help market the continuing ed courses.
And I'll go next. I'm Jackie Knight. I'm the program director of continuing education. So some of you who have been here a while have heard from me by email, and I'll be happy to answer any of your questions. Joe?
Hey, thanks, Jackie. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming to our info session. My name is Joe Doucette. I am the operations manager for continuing education. I also do all of the admissions for certificate programs. So if you have questions about the application for the certificate in communication design or the application process, I'm the person to ask. So we'll get to that later, obviously, but if you have questions about that or anything involving certificates, feel free to contact me or ask me at this event. And how about Stacy? Sure.
Sorry, Joe.
No problem.
All right, I'll go next. I'm Stacy Peterson Damorat, and I work mostly with graduate admissions, but I also get a lot of questions for students or people that are interested in the certificate programs. So I work closely with Joe, and I'm actually here to learn a little bit as well with all of you.
Rebecca.
Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Morrison. I'm kind of running tech tonight along with Brenna. I'm the director of graduate programming, so I work really closely with Lucinda, and I'm really just starting to get to know the communication design certificate program and really excited about it and to meet you all tonight, so welcome.
Let's see, Alex Barbosa.
Hey everyone, I'm Alex Barbosa. I'm an adjunct professor in the program and I teach intermediate typography. Let's go to Damon. Hey Damon, you're muted.
Damon, you're muted.
Damon, you're muted.
I think I would know better at this point, right? Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm Damon Jones. I teach graphic design too, MassArt grad myself. Teresita?
Hi, I'm Teresita Olson. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
I'm Teresita Olson. I graduated in the program from 2019. So I speak from an alum perspective in terms of the experience through the program and what I'm doing now. Currently, I am a solo freelancer. And so I have a list of clients that I work with on specific projects, but I'm happy to answer all your questions about the program, but also what you could do with your certificate post the program.
Liz.
Hi, I'm Liz Higgins. I'm also a graduate of the program. I graduated in May of this past spring, and I'm currently freelancing for one of the professionals that was at my portfolio review at Marlowe Marketing. I don't know. I can't see who else is in the lineup.
Hannah might be the last one.
Yeah.
Hi everyone, my name is Hannah. I'm a current student in the certificate program. Looking forward to speaking to you guys.
Thank you everyone. It's a great group of people. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Alyssa Aronson. And I've just really enjoyed, I've been in my position coming up on 2.5 years, and Alyssa's just been incredibly inventive and committed to this program and serves as program coordinator, hiring faculty, organizing, curriculum, all of that, and also advising students, and is just really a powerful presence for her students and advocate for the program. So she's going to offer a presentation now. And again, just like popcorn, if questions come up, pop them in the chat and we'll be sure to get to them after. However the best way to do that is, or just wait and unmute at the end of Alyssa's words. Here we go.
Okay, thank you so much, Lucinda. This is literally a 5-minute presentation, just introducing you briefly to some key aspects of the Communication Design Certificate Program. And before I start, I just want to mention that the images of design work that you see in this presentation were all created by graduates or current students in the Communication Design Certificate Program. We're really proud of the great work our students do. And I'm just gonna, next, yes, thank you. I myself graduated from this program. It was then called the Graphic Design Certificate. I had been an English major in college and worked in marketing. My background was writing, but I fell in love with doing layouts. And like some of you, I'm sure I asked around to find out what I should do to gain skills in design and possibly make a career switch. And I didn't really want to go back to school full time. I had a job I wanted to keep. So I found this wonderful program. All these years later, I've now worked as a professional designer and have been teaching and coordinating the program for over 2 decades. Next, please. So MassArt's reputation for excellence in this area of education is very well known, particularly among those who hire designers. It's a top quality education at a fraction of the cost you'd pay for comparable courses elsewhere. Next. The program has served adults who want a part-time education in communication design for many years. A great number of grads and former students from the program work in a variety of design jobs far and wide. The program stays up to date by constantly evolving curriculum to cover new areas informed by our close ties with alumni working in the field, our faculty, and other industry connections and trends. Thanks, Rebecca. You can go to the next one. The people involved with this program are awesome. From the students to the staff, faculty, alumni, and professional designers who serve as guest presenters, guest critics, portfolio reviewers, and employers of our students and grads. Our remote courses offer lots of opportunities for peer interaction and one-on-one time with faculty, and helping students with job search and career networking are key priorities of the program. Thanks, Rebecca. You can go to the next one. Yes, thank you. We're very excited to introduce the new levels, which are tiers, which allow you to choose the education that fits your goals. It's great if you already know you want to do the whole program, and I know some of you do. But in fact, you don't need to know when you start how far you want to go. You have the flexibility to see where things take you. You can complete a certificate at level 1 or level 2 and go out, get a job, then come back to gain more skills and create new portfolio projects later, when and if you need to. If you have some design education in your background and you're working as a designer and want to upskill, you may be able to start level 2 or at level 3. And most of our courses can be taken a la carte. So if you have completed, for example, the level 2 certificate, and there's 1 or 2 courses that you want to take in that are in the level 3 tier, you can take those courses even if you aren't enrolled in level 3. So if you go to the next one, thank you. All right, and one more. Sorry, we are not a theoretical program. Our focus is real world design skills. All of our instructors are currently practicing design or have many years experience practicing design, and this shapes what and how we teach. This slide describes level 1 in a nutshell. Whatever area of communication design you are in or wish to pursue, level 1 grounds you in the fundamentals that apply to any communication design undertaking, whether it's an invitation to a fundraising event, a billboard campaign, a brand, website, app, packaging, or whatever. Level 2 starts with a UX course, and with that as background, in levels 2 and 3, you'll design screen-based experiences and multi-piece systems that include both printed and screen-based media. Our program offers the opportunity to explore and express yourself creatively while learning to solve communication problems for users and clients. While learning practical skills, you'll have plenty of opportunity to design for subject matter that interests you personally and to develop and convey your unique visual personality. And lastly, both levels 2 and 3 culminate in portfolio courses in which you create a polished presentation of your work that you present to a group of professional designers for feedback. By grounding your work in strong fundamentals and gaining experience in a variety of project types, your education in this program can provide a great jumping off place into whatever area of communication design you choose. Thank you. Okay, so I am going to introduce I don't want to call them presenters, the faculty, alumni, and current student of our program, and give them, a couple minutes to tell you more about themselves. So Damon, you want to start?
Yes, can you hear me now? Okay, good.
Yes.
Just checking. Yeah, so hi again, Damon Jones. I teach graphic design too. As I said, I'm a MassArt graduate. My degree is in graphic design, like Alyssa's. Excuse me, and I've been working as a designer in and around Boston for about 20 years now. Currently, in addition to teaching, I work as a creative director overseeing a team of user experience designers. So my day-to-day work typically focuses around UX, but obviously I have a history and a passion for all things graphic design. And this is one of the reasons why I love the GD2 course specifically, because it touches on so many key aspects of graphic design, from branding to logo design to print and UX. And importantly, it gives me and my students the chance to focus on what it means to produce not just good work, but really great work, which as far as I'm concerned is what it's all about. And that's sort of one of the things that I find sort of distinguished about this MassArt program is people are here not to just go through the motions and learn a trade. They're here because they're passionate about design and they want to work with other folks that are equally as passionate about design. So it's a really fun vibe. It's a very collaborative classroom that we have, and yeah, I've been here a while, so it's a good gig.
Thank you so much, Damon. Alex?
Yeah, everyone again. Alex Barbosa. I'm actually a MassArt graduate from the undergrad program. I graduated from the the graphic design department in 2012. I'm currently teaching the intermediate typography course in the program. And the one thing I love about teaching the course is that all my students come in and we work on kind of pushing their concepts, their typographical skills, really pushing how to use type in a system. And we have some great projects that we do that with, which is a cookbook and a type designers exhibition project, which, sorry, my laptop's going off. But for me, I love teaching the course because I get to help my students really push their concepts, push their use of typography within these big projects, these multi-page projects. But my history comes from, I worked at an ad agency for a while, and I got my start at a design agency working on luxury hospitality. So doing brand, a lot of digital work, really got my hands in with the typography skills, and kind of, I love that I'm able to kind of bring my class to that level as well.
Thank you, Alex. How about Teresita?
Hi again. Hi everyone, Teresita Olson. I finished the program in 2019, and I came to graphic design as a second career. I had close to like 17 years in marketing. I have a business background, and I was in medical devices, and I just really, design was always in the back of my head. So I really made the change in 2015 and enrolled in the program. What I'm doing now is I am freelancing, and most of my clients are in the hospitality, so restaurant branding, also menu design, websites. I also work with nonprofits, and what I liked about the program is that it really taught me how to be a strategist, really think about the big picture and how I could bring that to the client. And that always starts with concepting, and really good concepting, because that can lead to different ideas. So it's not necessarily just being about a technician and the output, it's really the thinking behind it. Because if you can do that to the client and you can sell this concept and the ideas, you're really giving them a service. So I think that there, as a designer, you're always looking for ways to really help out your clients. And, and your clients could be your, as a freelancer, but just if you work in an agency and you work on a particular account, just really thinking big picture is always a way to bring value to your projects and your work.
Thank you. Thanks, Teresita. How about Liz?
Hi. So my background before enrolling in the program, I was actually working in hospitality mainly. I spent a long time working in the hospitality industry, and then additionally, I worked as a program coordinator for a couple of different agencies. And I really was just at a point where I wanted to change. I had studied English in my undergrad. I did English and creative writing, and knew that I really always wanted to work in a creative field. I just really wanted to work somewhere that would be more visually creative. And I knew that I wanted to get into design, but I kind of had always felt like, well, I'm not an artist. Like, I don't have that background. I don't know if this would be the right fit. And I started taking some classes at MassArt and really just fell in love with it, and enrolled in the program. And then just, really just tried to see where it could take me. I've learned a ton from the program. Actually, a couple of my previous professors are here right now, Damon and Alyssa. And I remember when I was in Alyssa's foundations class, Teresita actually presented her work, and I was like blown away by like how awesome and cool everything looked. So it's really exciting to be able to speak to everyone about like how much I love this program tonight. Currently, right now, I'm freelancing for one of the portfolio reviewers, Lindsay Hill. I work at Marlowe Marketing, and a lot of the work that I do is in hospitality as well. We have a lot of hospitality clients. So it's everything from like branding to digital design to creating like digital ads, like social ads, but also it's production work, which is something that I actually like really enjoy and really love. So it is like doing menus for our clients, or, just really paying attention to whatever production work they're sending us. And it's also a lot, I was thinking about this today, because I work collaboratively with the team, but remotely, it's also giving a lot of feedback. And that's one way that this program really helped prepare me, is because you're looking at other students' work, you're giving feedback on it, trying to say like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if you tried this instead? Or like, maybe if you tweaked it this way. So that's something that I've definitely taken away from the program and use every single day in my current job.
Great, thank you so much, Liz. Hannah, tell us about yourself.
Hi again, my name is Hannah. I use the She series. I started this program fall 2020. And it's like kind of right during COVID. So I went right into the online format. And what got me interested in this program was because in my current day job in higher ed administration, I had started to do some social media posts, and I was overseeing the external newsletter that goes out to a vast array of constituents. And I noticed that those were the parts of my job that I really loved the most. And on a whim, I was like, it's COVID, I'm at home anyway. This program is offered online. I could do it after work pretty easily. So I just signed up in Alyssa's class, actually. I think it was like Foundations of Graphic Design. And it just was, that was just the start. And I've really enjoyed all of the programs, or like my programs, let me say, the projects that this certificate offers. I've particularly loved the pop-up project in Graphic Design 1, where we got to create, I guess, the whole visual system for this imaginary pop-up. So I created one about a bookstore that was going to be held outside. So we got to make logos, make all these other kind of byproducts of what it means to create this branding system. It was fantastic. It pushed me to really learn more about Adobe. I was able to present my project to a few potential employers. And I've actually just recently landed a job in a communications department at MIT, which I'm very thrilled about. And I definitely could not have done that without this program. So very thankful. Yeah, I'm really excited. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you, Hannah. Congratulations. That's great news. Awesome. MIT is a great place to work. Really great place. Okay.
Is that everyone? I was trying to jump back between my notes. Has everyone had a chance to say a little bit more about what they love about the program? Alyssa, is that everybody on our list?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Then I would open it up. I'm going to ask one really general question, and then maybe someone will have something that they want to jump in and ask after that, which is, here's my question. So, you know, I'm a practicing artist and an administrator, and I'm not in the world of design, but obviously I get to talk to designers and collaborate with them in various ways. I'd love to hear from Alyssa or the faculty before we get to our like practical questions. And I'm sure there are tons of those. Like, what led to this shift from graphic design to communication design? Like what does that change in terminology kind of give us access to understanding about the field?
Anyone?
It's like a ringer from
I'll take it, but I wanted to give like Damon and Alex or anyone a chance to say what it means to them.
Yeah, why don't you kick it off? As I'm going to follow your lead on this, Alyssa, because I have my own impressions, and obviously there's a lot of overlaps when it comes to both definitions. But let's see what Alyssa says first.
Yeah, well, I mean, for me, a lot of it was kind of practical. You know, the term graphic design, you know, it sounds kind of old-fashioned. A lot of people that work in the field don't really relate to it anymore. There's sort of this kind of open thing where there's just a lot of different titles. Some people just call themselves designer. They might be UI or UX or brand, but you know, it's all kind of encompassed in graphic design. But you know, communication design is a more accurate term, because communication design is basically like anything that you need to make for someone to see that communicates could fall under communication design. I was a little hesitant to I mean, the undergrad department changed their name a few years ago. And I was a little hesitant to follow their lead, because I was afraid people wouldn't know, like, the term. You know, if you're searching on Google, are you going to look up communication design? Like, probably not.
I know, that's sort of why I brought up the question. I just thought, like, if there's an elephant in the room, let's just get it out of the way. And as like, I'd love to hear what others might say about that on the faculty, and then we can get to the, you know, the people who've come here to ask questions. But you know, that's something I think within a field, we'll like adjust to these huge changes. And then people who are just thinking of getting in the field, it's like, what is that about? And I know for me, you know, just as an academic and a maker of things, I think it's really exciting, because it gets at the sort of depth of how designers are creating meaning and defining meaning and creating objects that help us to understand and navigate the world in different ways. So I won't get too lofty about that, but I think the terminology is pretty exciting, and how much it expands the way we can think about what the field does.
Yeah, I think Alyssa made a key point, and that's that, you know, this communication design is sort of, it's all encompassing, and we focus a good deal on user experience design in addition to more traditional print design, which I think historically has sort of been thought of more as like quote unquote graphic design. I think you could theoretically use the label to cover any number of different topics, but the point is, whatever the broadest term for all things design that we cover, whether it's digital or print or branding, that seems to be the most fitting.
Thank you. Anyone else want to add something to that? And then I won't dominate the questions, I promise.
Yeah, I felt like I wanted to piggyback on that. Like graphic design, to me, I look at it as like the foundations of just design thinking. Like you learn so much with graphic design, and then you take that and you apply it to what design has become, which is like an ever-growing field of artists, design thinkers, communicators, which I think graphic design is like the base of like learning typography, learning how to do layouts, learning about grids, columns, and then communication design is just taking that knowledge and just applying it to, UX design, user research. You're using the same thinking in different forms, but you're still a designer, and communication design just, for me, fits it better because it's all encompassing.
That's great. Thank you. That was really helpful. So those of you who are here as guests, what would you like to talk about? How can we best, do you have practical questions? What can we tell you about the program that will help you to understand it better? Any questions at all? Yeah.
Elizabeth has her hand raised.
Yeah. Elizabeth, do you want to just unmute and ask your question?
Yeah, sorry, I'm not on video.
No worries.
But I guess my question might be more pointed towards Hannah. I know that they mentioned that you worked whilst taking the program, and I know this is something I'd be taking on while working full time as well. So I guess I was just wondering more about what that experience was like. Was it doable for you? Anything like that. And so I guess my question is more of a practical question.
That's great. Thanks for asking. I feel like I've been able to I've been taking one class a semester, and that's enough for me. I'm on the computer all the time for work. So to add to my screen time, I can't do too much more, just for my brain. I think it's really manageable with just one class, and I usually get most of my homework done on the weekend, just because it's like, long day, maybe on the computer or whatnot. It's kind of hard to dial in to do more work. But I also really liked in the summertime, you can take a class that meets more frequently because it's more of like a fast pace, just because of the summer semester is a little bit like shorter. I really liked that too, because it also, you met twice a week. So you were just like more engaged with the work in a way that maybe you won't get just from meeting once a week. But I also found that while it was intensive, it was really great to help with my creative practice, because I was just working on projects more regularly, and that was a great experience too.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We have a general question from Michaela. What level of understanding of Adobe or other computer programs do you need coming in?
I'll try to handle that. And it's hard to describe because we refer to it as working knowledge, and it's just really hard to say these are the exact skills you need, because it's not really like that. But what we found is that if students are struggling to try to learn the software at the same time as they're trying to learn design, it just becomes overwhelming really quickly, and people get frustrated because they don't know how to do what they want to do. So the prerequisite for starting the program in terms of Adobe skills is what I call working knowledge of Adobe Photoshop and Illustrator, also InDesign or Sketch. More and more people are learning Sketch and doing layouts in Sketch. I think you still are going to want to have some Illustrator and Photoshop, but instead of InDesign, you could use Sketch. So, the more you know of the programs, the better. sometimes people take a course. We have a really great course that's called, I think, Intro to Design with Adobe Creative Suite. There's also little short courses in like a weekend Photoshop or Illustrator. Some people learn it on their own or do online tutorials. It kind of depends, how comfortable you are with kind of figuring out stuff as you go along, or would you rather take some courses, before you start the program, or do you know it already? I mean, I could, if you want to know more specifically, like what are the types of projects that we do, so that you can see like, these things that you know how to do. I do some in my classes. I teach foundations of graphic design and typography. So those are at the beginning of the sequence. So sometimes there's some software demos. I'm not sure, Alex or Damon, do you do any software demos at all?
I don't do specific software demos, but I will run tutorials as to like how to Photoshop your cover on a book jacket for your cookbook. So not necessarily teaching you the ins and outs of each program, but my course, we rely heavily on InDesign with these layout projects that we're working on.
Yeah, I don't do a lot of tutorials. Sorry, am I interrupting someone?
No, I was going to say, anyone else want to jump in on this?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I do a little bit of tutorials. We talk about sort of tips and tricks throughout the course of the semester as they apply to the project. But what I've found is, and maybe it's sort of a matter of having that working knowledge foundation, but a lot of the software, there's so many good free resources on YouTube and online. It's like all you have to do is Google it, and you can sort of figure out the nuances of anything Adobe. So for me, it's sort of more about, like, as has been said, we spend our time talking about the concepts and sort of the more fun parts of design, as opposed to the more utilitarian aspects of it.
Yeah, and I would just like to say, I kind of came into this program without a huge working knowledge of Adobe, and definitely would echo that there's like a ton of resources out there. It can be a little overwhelming if you don't have that foundation, but I think like MassArt has always done a really good job of offering resources. And then I also did take the Adobe like learning like Creative Suite course. I think Jason taught it, and it was really helpful. And still to this day, like I'm learning new things every day. I feel like it's just such a technology is always changing, and you're always building upon your skill set. So it's definitely, if you can find the resources and you want to learn it, it's definitely something that can be done.
Looks like we have a bunch of
yeah, the next question that came in was from Tamara, just asking about next steps. What should the very next step be for people who are interested in applying?
Next step from just pure interest? Is that what you mean? I'm sorry, I have to move up the chat. I didn't see the question. But so I think I can answer that quickly. We do want students to have the Adobe background that we just talked about, and also some little art making background, some familiarity with visual terminology, and just kind of how designers and artists look at things. So if you don't have anything like that in your background, we just recommend like a basic observational drawing course. And if you've got some software skills in Adobe programs, and you've got some background in art making or drawing, you're ready to start. You can start taking the courses without applying to the program, but that's, at this point, we'd rather have you apply and start within the program. So to apply to level 1, which is to start at the beginning, we're not requiring any longer a portfolio or other supplemental materials. It's just the application and the application fee, and then you can begin. So feel free to connect with me if you have more questions. Connect with Joe if you want to know more about just the if you click on apply and you just have questions about that. but it's pretty, we really tried to streamline the process. To go from level 1 to level 2 and from level 2 to level 3, there are benchmarks. But in terms of level 1, we feel that, you know, everyone can benefit from having some design skills. I mean, you're seeing design every day. If nothing else, it just helps to be able to, you know, understand kind of what's behind the stuff that's coming at you. And also just something as simple as like choosing the font for your email, like what's a easy to read font, how, you know, simple stuff is design, communication design. So we really want to make the first level very, very accessible for people.
There is a question about, it's a two-part question. Do you think that this program may revert back to in-person? And I can say something briefly about that and then pass the baton to Alyssa. And then Alyssa, the second part is, would you say most people find employment after completing this course? Or I would assume you mean, you know, the full suite of courses. And I would say that we are really excited to have fully visioned this as an online program. And one of the reasons is that we feel like we can bring what MassArt does well to the online space, which is, you know, you're meeting all the people in the room who are a community at MassArt and who have been an online community with each other and with our vast number of students online. We're pretty excited about that. For local, you know, there are aspects of campus that would be available to students who are local, but this is, you know, if you want to go to the library, we've got an incredible library, but this program is designed as to be fully online. I don't know, Alyssa, if you want to say anything else about that or whether you want to move to the employment question.
I will say something else about that. And, you know, I think it's important that people from, you know, places where they can't get to the campus can fully do the program. But, you know, I do think that once we know what the new normal is and we're, you know, in it or almost in it, I think we'll try to have some events where people can come to campus and meet each other, or we have some kind of, you know, intensive workshops where people can come to campus and work together on something. I mean, again, this wouldn't be required because, you know, we don't want people to have to come. But I think we could, you know, do some things on campus that would get people to the campus, because it is fun to, you know, to be at MassArt. What was the next question?
Would you say most people find employment after completing the program?
Yes. People find employment. And I'm only laughing about that because if they didn't, I'd be like, you know, like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I got to fix this program. So that's, you know, that's kind of the bottom line, is that people get, you know, good jobs. Definitely.
You know, one thing I can just say, which is it's a little bit venturing into TMI, but when I first came into this position and was getting to know the design program, we were finding that some students weren't finishing the full program before we broke it into tiers because they were getting positions and finding that, like, you know, they had a particular set of needs and those needs were met before going through the entire thing. So it's one of the reasons we decided to break it out, because there's so many, the demographic and the reasons for wanting to learn these skills are diverse. And now we feel like this is a better way to sort of serve our community of students and a new community of students now that we're going to be online. Anybody else, any of the other people in the room want to say anything about sort of what becomes available in the job market?
I was going to say, I can speak briefly about my experience with people from the actual continuing ed program. When I worked at the small design agency, we hired a couple of people full-time. We had people coming in as like part-time workers from this program, where I have been lucky enough to sit on a bunch of portfolio reviews, and we look at the work, and this was before I started teaching, and we're like, we need that person on our team. And we talk to Alyssa and say like, hey, we want to interview this person, like we want them to come in. So we've hired a couple of people from the continuing ed program.
Yes, and thank you, Alex. And our portfolio reviews, I mean, this is a chance, you know, for us to get professionals to give feedback to the students, but it's also an opportunity to kind of show off our students to people who might be in a position to hire them or to recommend them.
Yeah, I was just going to say that the networking aspect of the program is quite noteworthy as well, because you make all these friends in the program, and ultimately the design community, at least within MassArt, we tend to stay in touch. So it's yeah, it's certainly heading people on the right track right out the gate.
Hannah, I'm interested in hearing more about the job you just got at MIT, because you've taken you're in your 4th course now, right?
Yeah, I'm in my 4th course.
Right. So for you to get a job at this point is great. And as Lucinda mentioned, it's not like you have to go through the whole program frequently. It's not like you have to go through the whole program before you can start looking for work and getting work. So how did you hear about this job, and how did it come about? What did you show them? And
yeah, so I was really ready to leave my job and like start exploring more of this career path of communication design, because I know like my strengths are more my visuals. Like that's just visual language is more of my strength versus like writing emails all the time. So I was pretty determined to kind of keep my eye open. I think what also really helped is that I was working in administration in general, so higher education. So I knew I was going to focus on some jobs that maybe were in that same realm, because I've had like 2+ years, almost 3 years in higher ed. So that really helped too. I also looked at a job at Eisenberg Projects. I don't know if you've all heard of them, but like they were really wonderful and saw my work from Graphic Design 1 and just a bunch of things there. And I really felt like they really saw that as like, wow, well, this is like a competitive candidate. And that was an awesome experience to go through that interview process. I think for me, it was just kind of what's the word? Just taking a risk. I was ready to try something different. I was like, you know what, look at my work. I think I can do, just really put yourself out there. That really helped me. And just like the support of my classmates too. I know we were talking a little bit earlier about what's it like doing this virtual. I find that it's been really awesome to meet some of the same people in these classes as I've progressed and have made friends, and it's fun. Like we're laughing. It's a really nice atmosphere and it's very inclusive.
Great, thank you. So next question or?
Yeah, we have a few questions about the application process, and I think we can put some links into the chat that can take you straight to the application, but there are a few here. Like there's a question from Noelle, Alyssa, about whether this program is good for someone who has a bachelor's in design and is looking to refresh their skill set, and then asking a little bit about the process of applying for level 2 or tier 2.
Yes, so if you've got some background in graphic design and you want to refresh your skill set, yeah, this is probably a good fit. I mean, the thing that I'd want to do is take a look at your portfolio and see find out from you, like, what are your goals, what do you want to do, what you feel like you're missing, and look at your portfolio and kind of figure out where you might fit in the program. But definitely, this is one of the things that we're hoping to make that'll sort of be simpler when it comes to someone joining the program who doesn't need, some of the courses at the beginning. In the past, we had to deal with this sort of limits of transfer courses and this whole thing, but with the levels, each level is actually a separate little program. So it's much easier for someone to kind of start, in the middle, for example, and not have to worry about like transfer credits for previous experience. I mean, I'm probably making this more complicated than it needs to be, but yes, I think this could be a great fit for you. So finding out what your goals are, what you want to do, seeing your work, and being able to advise you based on where you are and what you haven't done yet that you could learn in our program would be, the thing to do.
I can jump in there real quick about a couple of questions that I saw about the application and the application process, if you like. First off, as Alyssa mentioned earlier, If you're applying to level 1, you only need to fill out the application and pay the fee and submit your application. So literally the application is just your name and other vital info and a fee. So there's no portfolio, there's no resume, there's no statement of purpose, there's no transcripts, nothing like that for level 1. It's very bare bones, very minimal, just to get you fast-tracked into the program. And the quicker we can get you in there and make you a matriculated student, the better for you, because then you are on track to finish that level 1 certificate fairly quickly. And then if you're interested in applying to level 2 or level 3, or going on from level 1 to level 2, the application is a little bit more complicated in that you would need to go to the website again, fill out the application. You need to include a portfolio, a statement of purpose, a resume, and your transcripts. So if you have transcripts from a different college, also your MassArt transcripts, we can access those, so you wouldn't need to add those, but that's what we would need for level 2 application and for level 3 application. So it's a little more involved when you get to that point, but just for starters, for level 1, it's pretty straightforward and really quite easy. So you don't need a whole lot. If you're, once you're in level 1 and you decide you want to go on to level 2, then you would need to go back to the application site and put in all that other information. So your portfolio, your resume, your statement of purpose, letters of recommendation are not required, but they are on the application, so they're optional. If you have them and it's easy for you to do it if you can. I think that covers it all.
I just want to clarify one thing. And I mean, this is a new thing and it's a little confusing. So I just want to say, if you're applying to level 2, just to start at level 2, you need to submit all that. For students who are moving from level 1 to level 2, you don't actually have to submit all that, because we've seen your work. You don't need to submit a portfolio. We know you. So if your grades in level 1 courses are all B+ and better, B+ or better, we only need to see a transcript with 60 college credits. Or if you don't have that, we ask you to write an essay explaining how, well, it's kind of hard to explain, but basically an essay explaining how you're ready to do the higher level work of the program. And if that's your situation, I'm happy to talk to you and guide you through that. So if you've already applied to level 1, you're in level 1. If you have, this is all on the website, but I understand it's a little confusing there. But if you have B+ grades in all your level 1 courses, to move to level 2, we just need to see the transcript or the essay. If your grades are not below B+, you probably need, an interview with me and for me to look at your work and decide if you're ready to go to level 2, or, you need something else before you do that. So I think, should we, is that, what's anything else to add?
There are some other questions if you're ready for that, or did you want to say more about that application?
No, I don't know. Yeah. I think, any questions about, so I'm sorry if that sounds a little contradictory to what Joe said. Like I said, this is new, so we're it's like getting everyone on the same page is tough because it's complicated. But feel free to write to email me or email Joe or email both of us with any questions, especially if you want to know about like your specific situation. I mean, a lot of times people want to know if they're not sure if they're, I've talked to quite a few people who aren't sure if they're ready for level 2 or should they start with level 1. They have some other courses, could they transfer them in? I mean, anything like that, we're really happy to answer for individual people. And you can even, make a Zoom meeting with me or with Joe to talk in person to get questions answered. Happy to
I would say that all of that is about flexibility to serve you and make sure that you're prepared to be successful in whatever level you're entering. So, and Joe and Alyssa can guide you through that. It's not too onerous. Let's see. Oh, thanks, Joe. You've got Joe's contact information in the chat there. So if you'd like to reach out to him, I encourage you to do so. He's very helpful and very pragmatic, can help you just get through the steps.
And I think Joe's
answered a couple of the questions, but please unmute if we've sort of missed something more specific about application. Jackie included a link about the cost breakdown for people who were asking about that, but please feel free if we haven't sort of covered your questions. And there's another question from Noel about, are the courses mostly individual or group work?
The courses are mostly individual group work. The courses are, well, we do have some independent studies, but in general, you know, you get the most benefit from being able to critique other people, seeing their work, working together. You will have your own individual assignments, but generally the classes are between, you know, 5 and 14 people. And if you wanted to do, you know, an independent study in place of a course, you'd talk to me about that. You know, if there's some specific project you really want to do, you know, we're open to it.
I think it was Damon who was saying earlier how important networking is to the field and how richly it's built into this program. So I think, you know, the faculty and Alyssa have really promoted that, that group dialogue, trying to help you to build a network and expand your connections while you're in the program. So
yeah, the other thing about that, and I think it's come up in the chats, is people are naturally anxious about taking on this program in addition to a full-time job, but I would say that the majority of students are in that same boat. And so it's a shared sort of experience that everybody collectively goes through together, which is, it's nice in so many different ways. It means that there's a shared bond that people experience, but in addition to that, there's also a degree of seriousness that everyone has about the time and energy that they spend doing this work and completing this program. So, so there, you would be in good company if that was the case.
Yeah, I don't know if Teresita or Liz wants to, you know, talk about sort of balancing workload of the program with whatever else you're doing in your life, having been through that.
Yeah, I would kind of second what Hannah was saying. I mostly took one course at a time, I think, and I was working while doing that. And I did kind of spend the majority of my weekend was when I would get like the most work done, because a lot of times I would find that I would start working and then like you'd get really into the project and then all of a sudden it would be like 4 hours later. So I definitely appreciated having weekends to do it. But yeah, I mean, I also found it helpful to do like a little bit of work after work each day, even if that was just like half an hour. You know, sometimes like taking a step away can be helpful, or sometimes doing it all at once. But it's definitely doable, and I think it's a good indication of what working experience will be like with timelines, the pace that some of the projects we worked on moved at. You know, sometimes you would have like 2 weeks from the start of the project to the final presentation. And it's definitely helped me with my time management in a professional role. And I just wanted to say, unfortunately, I have to jump a little bit early tonight, but I just wanted to put it out there that if anyone did have any questions from an alumni perspective, if they wanted to reach out to Alyssa, I'm more than happy to share my email and answer any questions if somebody has any.
Thank you so much for taking the time, Liz. That was great, very helpful.
Thank you.
Yes, and it's 7 o'clock already. So I just want to, I know Alex and Hannah have a class to go to. So we don't want to keep you guys too long. Thank you both so much.
Yeah, it seems like we got through most of our questions in the chat. We're supposed to wrap her at 7, yes? Alyssa, Brenna, yeah?
Yep.
Are there burning questions that someone feels like while you've got all these people in the room, you want to be sure that we address? All right, well, it was so great to have you all here, and just another round of thanks for our participants after a long day to, oh, we have someone new just entered the waiting room, oh well.
Can we stay a little longer and answer questions, or?
I'm happy to for a little bit if people want, if people do have other questions, sure. Yeah, whatever works for you, Alyssa.
I don't mind staying. Alex and Hannah, I know you guys need to go. So thank you both so much.
Yep, no problem.
Thank you. Bye.
And I don't know, Damon, Teresita, do you want to stay a little bit, or?
Yeah, I'm happy to stay on the line for a few more minutes.
Yep. I'm happy to do it because, you know, I spent a lot of time answering questions anyway. So might as well do it.
That hour went by very fast.
Went by fast. Yeah. I did want to address how many classes do you take at once, and in particular, you know, people talking about the schedule. So we have this the schedule. We recently revamped it so that things move along a little faster, you know, throughout. The only semesters where you'd be taking, and you don't have to stay on this schedule, but if you start and stay on this schedule, you could finish level 1 through 3 in a little more than 2 years. 2 years. It starts in September and it finishes in December, 2 years later. But of course, you might not be doing the whole thing. So I won't go too much into that. But in that sequence, there are only 2 semesters where there are 2 courses at the same time, because so many people do find that 1 course at a time works better with full-time work. That's how most of the courses, I mean, that's how most of the sequence is structured. So there might be 1 course in the spring, 1 in the summer, 1 in the fall. We now have these short courses that we're running in the intersession in January. And the first 2 courses in the program, Foundations of Graphic Design and Typography, people often take at the same time. I mean, the workload of the courses gets more intense as you go up. So with those 2 courses, you know, those are probably, I don't want to say the easiest, but you know, they're the first level courses, and I'm teaching both. So I really try to coordinate, knowing that people are doing homework in both courses. And then the only other time where there's 2 courses scheduled together, the 2 courses are intermediate type and UX. So they're very different types of courses. The UX course is, a lot of it is more cognitive, less kind of, you know, doing design. But then all the other semesters, I think, are scheduled so there's 1 course at a time.
Any other questions? It's our pleasure. Anything that, you know, for our presenters and people in the room, things that you think, you know, questions that you were surprised didn't come up that we might want to close with?
Anything? Oh, any advice you have for Teresita or Damon, for you know, students considering the program?
You know, I think one of the things is just, I think one of the things that walking into the program, it can feel very daunting because there's a sequence of courses. This could be your second career. And I just think that, you know, taking your time with it and really kind of taking the time and really enjoying the class. I mean, I know it's schoolwork, but enjoying the class was a big lesson for me, because I was just there were times I just wanted to get through it. And there are, like what Damon had talked about, the community that you can tap into and that will always be there for you after you finish the program. But a lot of it too is also just thinking, you know, noticing how the program's really kind of framing how you think as a designer. And I think that becomes really clear as you get, you know, through the more advanced courses. Yeah, so I would say just enjoy it, because it really is a pleasure. It's a rigorous course, but it is incredibly rewarding, and you will walk away really, you know, strongly minted designer and working and getting into the workforce.
Yeah, very, very well said, Rosita. Just to add to that, I think one of the things that I love about this program, and that I think is a differentiator for MassArt, is so I'm a hiring manager at my job, and I see a lot of portfolios, and I see a lot of folks that come out of different programs, but MassArt and this program in particular really stresses foundation and concepts, and what does it mean to really be a good design practitioner, not just a sort of artisan that turns out websites, but what does it mean to really be a design thinker? And that, I think, is a differentiator for us at MassArt versus some of these other programs that I often see turn out portfolios, but the foundation isn't quite as strong. So, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone who spoke tonight. And thank you for everyone who came. We are here, our continuing education staff. You can reach out to us at any time. You can email us at ce@massart.edu. I can put that in the chat in a minute. But thank you so much for coming, and have a great night. We didn't get into some of the things about like the advantages of being in the program in terms of the help you get in the college, but that's, we can give you that information if you would like to engage with us some more. We are happy to talk about it. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Jackie. That's a great point to end on. Any last thoughts? Just thank you for coming, everyone. Thanks very much. And as everyone has said, don't hesitate to reach out if you have any dangling questions.
All right. Look forward to hearing from anyone about anything at any time.